Hi guys. This week is the 20th anniversary of the Zatch Bell anime, and I'm here today with a pretty non standard video because I'm highlighting something really exciting that I want everyone to see. So, take a look at this image of Zatch from three angles. Now, this resembles right down to the text in the corner, which has Zatch's name, Gash, and a couple of characters that I'm assuming mean body or poses or something like that. It resembles the character sheets that are often used during anime production. Plenty of these have been shared online, and they can have more sketchy looking versions or higher quality versions that almost look like they were drawn mid production as a sort of strict reference for animators. You might look at this and think, oh, cool, maybe this was used for the 2003 anime or maybe one of the movies. But hold on. I'm sure if you're a ZB fan, you've probably noticed a couple things about this image that stand out. Zatch's design is more reminiscent of how we've seen towards the end of the manga and in more recent Raikou drawings, where his hair has a little more volume to it and his eyes are a little smaller. Of course, his cloak is also green, which is how it's colored in the manga. Now that makes it interesting. You could look at this and think it even could be art from a new anime. But it's just one picture, right? Maybe it's fan art, maybe it means nothing. Well, guess what? It's not just one picture. It's a lot of pictures. A whole production's worth. A whole season's worth. Maybe a whole series worth. These are the Zatch Bell model sheets, the best kept secret of the Zatch Bell community for over 2 years, and something incredibly interesting and exciting for any fan of the franchise to see. It's a collection of over 80 character or model sheets like this, showcasing the appearances and facial expressions of every major and many minor characters, from not just the original anime series, but the manga too. And yes, that includes manga exclusive characters from the final arc. Several of the main characters also have design changes and facial expressions shown that correspond with things that happen in the manga after the anime ended. There's been so much hope and speculation over the years over whether we get a new Zatch Bell anime, and I'm not entirely sure what the images I'm about to show you mean or signify, but it's going to be very hard to believe after looking at these that they were not meant for a large Zatch Bell project of some kind. I'll go through some of the most interesting finds in a little bit, but let me first explain how these were found. So, a couple years ago, a member of the Zatch Bell community called Doodles, who is a pretty big collector for the franchise, who's always looking on auction sites for any interesting ZB memorabilia or merchandise, found a listing on the Japanese Yahoo auction site for these. From what I recall hearing, the description on these was pretty sparse, and it's not known if the seller really even knew what they were selling. Doodles knew he was onto something special with this listing and bought them for a not insignificant sum. When he got them delivered, these are physical, glossy printed sheets and folders, by the way. He knew they could potentially indicate something huge for the ZB franchise, possibly even that a new anime could be or could have been in production, which is partly why he chose to hide them for a long time. Before I continue, let's take a look at some more of these. So here we have some facial expressions from Zatch, and like I mentioned, these are very well drawn. They look like the drawings could just start moving right in front of you. The clarity of the lines is very digital. It really looks like an anime. The shading on his hair makes me think of that too. Raikou doesn't usually draw him with his hair having that variety of shading in the manga. These poses from Kiyomaro are interesting because it looks a little more unnatural, and I think you can tell that Raikou didn't draw this one. Probably didn't draw any of these, honestly. This is likely another artist or artists doing a very good imitation of his style. So next, we have our next major manga-only change. After Zatch's green cloak, we have Kafka's sunbeam, shown with normal-looking eyes, which Raikou only started drawing him with in the final arc, probably to avoid confusion between his eyes' old design and Kyo and Dufort's answer talker ability, which look really similar. This is something that's really small, and I'll admit I honestly did not even realize it happened in the manga. I didn't remember, I haven't read the manga in quite a while. Yet whoever drew these made sure to include it and not draw him with the eyes he has for most of the series. Next, we have Parco Folgore, who's drawn with both serious and humorous facial expressions, and having the very long, luxurious hair that he gets towards the end of the series. Even at the end of the anime, his hair did not look like this. We have Brago, and this change of his hairstyle being really spiky is interesting because I don't even think it was this spiky even late in the manga. This could have been a liberty that the artist who did this was allowed to take, maybe. If things like that can happen. I've seen a lot of comparisons where characters in the Attack on Titan anime don't exactly resemble how they're drawn by Hajime Isayama, who is a friend of Raikou's, by the way. So the best of these are still yet to come, but already those are some really interesting and consistent examples of things from later in the manga being reflected in this art. It's easy to look at these and imagine that these are for a new anime or a movie or mobile game, even. that would have had all these characters. The fan who discovered this, along with a couple others, really wanted to share these with all Zatch Bell fans, but they were afraid that if these were real and they revealed them, and whoever had actually made these, or even Makoto Raikou himself, saw them, that it could at least get the people who own this art very angry at these fans, and at worst, even endanger the project they were a part of if this art ended up being some sort of leak. Now, even today, we still don't really know what this art was for, or how far along this project was. Nothing's materialized based on them at the time of me recording this video. But 2 years ago, we had no idea if these could have been very recent, if these could have been from a project that was in production, or maybe on hiatus due to the pandemic. So it was decided to hold all of this art until the anime's 20th anniversary this week. You can check these out on Reddit using the link in the description. There's still a little bit of uncertainty about this, some feeling that it could still incur Raikou's wrath, and I've even heard the opinion that revealing this art could help for a new anime to be made. I don't know if my thoughts align with any of that, but nobody really knows anything except that this art exists. And I mean, just look at it. It's got to be from somewhere, and it doesn't resemble any official Zatch Bell art we've ever seen, including from the Golden Memories mobile game that was around shortly before these were found. It is not the art from that game. So here we have Zeon with an expression he has from his final scene in the human world when he reconciles with Zatch. We have Demaruto or Demolt, the massive Momoto from the end of the Millennium arc, with his original manga coloring white, unlike his darker skin in the anime. We have Barry, with, I believe, another manga exclusive expression from shortly before his book burns. This is Rodu from the Fado arc, sporting not his original appearance, but his appearance after he's powered up by the Godoofa spell, which is a manga exclusive. So this is basically a fully original character design. I'm not sure if there's ever been an official color palette for this version of him. Now we have what I think are the gems of this collection, manga exclusive characters from the final Clear Note arc. We have the beetle like Momoto Gorm, whose color scheme has been shown only a few times in group shots. We have his partner Mir, and I think there are a couple funny things about this one. That her sillier facial expressions aren't in here because the artist probably didn't want to attempt to copy them. I think only Raikou can draw them in quite the way he does. And two, that her hair is so massive that the artist probably thought it'd just be easier to draw a little bit of it and then put all these expressions against a big yellow background. These two are some of my favorite characters in the whole series, so I was so happy to see them included here. But I think the next image is even more exciting. There are two images in this set of a never before seen, ever, color scheme for the final villain of the series, Clear Note, in his second form with this armor and the crazy headpiece. Now, we've seen colored art of Clear in his tank top before, but none of his other three forms. I always imagine this armor being blue and gold like Gorm is, but here it's gold, black, and red with the jewels on his hands that represent two of his most powerful spells being their own specific color. We also have various expressions for Clear, including one that shows that in this artist's interpretation, when he gets serious, his eyes are black around his pupils. I say interpretation because in the end, we have no idea how legitimate these actually are or if Raikou advised on this color scheme. We only know that they look official and that no fan artist in their right mind would go through the work of creating something like this for the sole purpose of selling a single copy of it on a Yahoo auction. And I think that's what's so interesting about these is that no matter if you're cynical and feel like this project is long dead, or if you're worried that Raikou is now going to sue Zatch Bell fans, it'd be very difficult for you to deny that these were from some sort of Zatch Bell project, whether that was an anime, a video game, a movie, or something else. It really sparks the imagination of any fan, and I think revealing these is a great way to celebrate the anime's 20th anniversary. Thanks for going through these with me. Please check out the full gallery linked in the description below. And let's keep our fingers crossed that we might see this art represented in a real production someday. Thanks for watching.